everybody.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 4 of Why Now. With races canceled, group training on hold, post-workout brunches on the back burner, why are you still running and training?
Yes, great question. And today's guest is the amazing Fay Dunbabin. I'm really excited to talk about Fay. So let's flip through and see her picture. There she is, getting it done on the trail. Great story for you today, so let's get right to it. So this is Fay Dunbabin, and Fay wrote to us and talked about how as she approached her 50s and into her 50s, she knew that she needed to kind of take a hold of her genetics and her history. So her mom passed away when she was quite young and had dealt with a lot of heart and stroke type experiences and attacks. And so she wanted to take the reins. She wanted to get in control of that. And so she started playing soccer, which led to running, which led to boot camps and connecting with really amazing communities. So you can already see the joy on her face of her fitness experience. She started doing lots of races and got into group running. They did a bunch of road running, some marathons, some half marathons, really great races, having the time of her life, enjoying herself. But as she was getting into her training deeper and deeper, basically her hip quit. And that's exactly how she described it to us. She said that her hip quit. And so here was Fay enjoying her running career, but being faced with hip replacement surgery. And I think I can see on your face, Eric, too, that it's like, oh no, nobody wants to face that.
Well, nobody wants hip replacement.
Nobody wants that.
No, and especially not when you're, especially at a young age. And so, yeah, it's definitely not. It's no runners or athletes' favorite place to be.
No, definitely. And so as she was facing her hip replacement surgery, basically her doctors shared with her that it was probably due to a childhood injury, believe it or not. So a long time ago injury that built up over time and led her to this place. So Fay really wanted to go into this surgery ready and strong. So she took on a personal trainer. She got really focused. She wanted to go into this in the best shape of her life. And lo and behold, she lucked out and she was able to do what they call resurfacing instead of an actual replacement, which she said bought her 15 more years of running. So very exciting and really happy for Fay. Yeah, definitely. And what she discovered was trail. So a lot of folks who are dealing with injury or coming off of injury know that those softer surfaces and that varied terrain can really support the body's adaptation and also can take an easier toll on everything. So she ran a 50K, which is incredible. And is that her medal there, the Chase the Coyote?
That's her Chase the Coyote medal, and that's her shirt from that race.
Amazing. It's really, really nice.
3 key points from that race, and I know them very well.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. It's a beautiful visual too. And so here was Fay, really into trail running and getting a lot of benefit from it. And one of the things that Fay focused on in her story was how trail running in particular has been her way to cope with loss. And we learned that Fay's been through some big losses in her life. And as we mentioned earlier, she lost her mom when she was quite young, around 21. But in 2015, Fay lost her daughter. And just this year, during this COVID crisis, she lost her brother-in-law, not due to COVID, but he passed away during this time and she was unable to see him and be there. And she talked about how her sister was really there for her when she lost her daughter and how difficult it was to not be there for her sister when losing her brother-in-law. And Fay grew up with this man. He was like a brother to her. And these losses were big. They were really big. And one of the things what really stuck out to me was that Fay decided to go out for a run on the day that her brother-in-law's life ended. And she was out on the trails at that moment. And I think when she writes that it's therapeutic, that it's spiritual, and that it's support, I think anyone who's been through loss could really connect with that and understand why Fay wanted to be there at that time on the trails. So I think that we both feel really honored that she shared that with us, because that's a big story and that's a lot to go through. And what I admire so much about Faye is that she, in the midst of challenging times, in the midst of trauma, she finds her coping strategy and she connects to it and she believes in it and she lets it propel her forward, keep her moving forward, never forgetting, never getting over, but moving through. And I admire her for that.
No, absolutely. It's yeah, the trails can definitely be that that place that you need to find that spiritual spot and to kind of get through it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that when we have something like trail running in our life before we encounter, a lot of people find these kind of things after trauma, right? They're looking for something, and also a lot of folks establish these strategies so that they're there when they need them later. So it's a really it's a beautiful thing, the outdoors, the forest, and nature, in terms of that spiritual connection and that coping potential. So thanks, Faye, for sharing that with us. And I think that so this is what I really loved about the story was, you know, she opened by telling us about her why. She really unpacked her why now because of what she's been through. She shares some heavy, intense things that, you know, again, we can all relate to, but it's hard. And then she ends by talking about how everything's always an adventure. And it, like, you know, I can see your smile at how much that's bringing to you. And
well, it's because I think, you know, because it can be taken so many ways. You know, it's not necessarily a positive statement. It's not a negative statement. It's a statement that just kind of says, you know what, there's always going to be, just like in trail running, I guess, you know, especially if you don't know the trails, you know, it's always going to be an adventure. You never know, you know, going to the right's going to take you someplace, going to the left. So it's very much just like life, and, you know, and the life that she's had, and which she's all the coping and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just been, yeah, it's just a great slide and just a great way to kind of sum it all up. And that, you know, there's going to be good times, there's going to be bad times, but, you know, there's always going to be an adventure along the way.
Absolutely. And I think that when we were reading Faye's story, we could feel that, you know, we could feel like that tension between the positive and the negative, but just the way that she's like, this is life and I'm going to live it. And it's not always going to go my way, but I'm going to keep going my way. And, and I love that about Faye. So.
And she's very much like that, you know, in person as well. I mean, I've known Faye for a couple of years and through the races, and she's very much like that. It's not, you know, oh, well, me, it's, you know, here's some stuff I've dealt with, and, you know, this is how I cope with it, and let's move on.
Amazing.
Move on to new challenges. And I know she's got a couple of exciting ones coming up in the next year and stuff like that to celebrate some big momentous days. So yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Faye, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. We are really honored. It's a big story, and we were really lucky to share it with the Why Now listeners. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Faye. And thank you, Lisa, for telling the story so well.
Well, thanks, Eric. It's always a pleasure to join in on our Why Now. So we'll be back with episode 5 next week.
Perfect. Thanks so
much. All right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.